Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. 9 killed and several injured in an accidental blast near Jammu and Kashmir's Nowgam police station. Lieutenant Governor orders probe. US Justice Department accepts President Trump's request to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's ties to former Democratic President Bill Clinton and the largest US bank, JP Morgan. Donald Trump cuts tariffs on 200 food products as inflation concerns mount. Also slashes tariffs to 15% from 39% for Switzerland after Byrne pledges $200 billion US investments. And in cricket, bowlers bring South Africa back into contention on the second day of the opening test match against India at Kolkata's Eden Gardens. Simon Harmer claims 3 crucial wickets. Up first, news from India's northern region. In a tragic incident, at least 9 people were killed and several others injured in a blast, an accidental one, near the Nowgam police station in Jammu and Kashmir on Friday night. Security personnel cordoned off the area around the police station to ensure safety. According to police, the blast was an accident that occurred during the handling of explosive material recovered in a terror module investigation. Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, J&K Division, Prasar Bharati, said that the cause of the incident was being investigated.
In this unfortunate accidental incident, 9 people have lost their lives, whereas 27 police personnel, 2 revenue officials and 3 civilians have received injuries. Injured were immediately rushed to the medical care and attention. The building of police station has received severe damages, besides some of the buildings surrounding the police station. The cause of the accident is being investigated. However, any other speculation into the cause of these incidents are unnecessary. The government stands in solidarity with the families of the deceased in this hour of grief.
Earlier, DGP Nalin Prabhat clarified that the explosion at the Nowgam police station in Srinagar was accidental and ruled out any sabotage. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha ordered a probe into the incident and expressed deep grief over the tragedy. The DGP also said that the police station suffered huge damage, while adjoining buildings were affected too. A probe is underway to ascertain the cause of the explosion that left 9 people dead.
In this unfortunate incident, 9 people have lost their lives, 1 personnel of SIA, 3 personnel of the FSL team, 2 crime photographers, 2 revenue officials who were basically part of the magistrate's team, 1 tailor who was associated with the team. In addition, 27 police personnel, 2 revenue officials and 3 civilians from the adjacent areas have received injuries. The injured were immediately evacuated to the nearest hospital, where they are being treated as we speak.
And we are joined by our correspondent Javed Sagar from Nowgam in Jammu and Kashmir on this story. Hi Javed, what do we know about the identity of those killed in the blast? Were they all policemen or were they also civilians among the casualties?
Yes, there are some 5 civilian killings have been reported, in addition to 27 policemen. This unfortunate incident happened last night at around 11:20. It was revealed by the DG Police Nalin Prabhat in a press conference early this morning. And right now you can see in the visuals, we are reporting from the same area where this incident happened last night. Nowgam, Srinagar. And to your information, I would like to share here that this is the same area where one of the accused, Muzammil, was found pasting the Jaish-e-Mohammed posters last month, in the last week of October. And the injured have been shifted to and admitted in various hospitals in the Srinagar, and their condition is said to be normal. And we have to wait for more updates about their condition. But it has been ruled out by the DG police that it was not a blast at all, but an accident. The people from forensic lab and police were testing the explosives brought from the Faridabad, and it just happened there while they were testing. Although all the SOPs were followed, but
Okay.
it was an unfortunate incident which gives a grief to the entire nation, and it's condemnable at this stage that when this incident happened in Delhi, that was condemnable. But people are giving solidarity with those who lost their lives, and it is said that some 9 people have lost their lives, including some revenue people, some from the forensic lab and the policemen. A tailor also has lost his life, and we are reporting from the same place where this incident happened last night at around 11:20. And I will again say the same thing, that this is the same area where Muzammil Shakil was found through CCTV footage last month pasting Jaish-e-Mohammed posters. And DG Police Nalin Prabhat has totally ruled out any kind of blast, totally ruled out, and said that it was just an accident. The explosives were mishandled. People not need to pay heed to the rumors, just listen to what police says. And when we talk about the injured, they have been admitted in various hospitals in Srinagar, and we have to wait what news will come from the hospitals. But hopefully it is said that all the injured are stable. They are stable, and people have been advised not to spread the rumors. It was
Okay.
just an accident,
Okay.
and nothing else. And solidarity is being given to all those who lost their lives,
Okay.
and those who are injured.
Okay. Yes, it was an accidental blast, excuse me. The Lieutenant Governor has ordered a probe into the incident. So, by when will the inquiry findings be with us? Any idea on that?
A probe has already been, asked to have in it, and an investigating team is investigating this incident. Where was, what happened actually, why there was mishandling, although DG Police said that all SOPs were followed properly. But still this incident happened. This is something which needs to be, worked out.
Yes.
And a team has been devised, an investigating team has been devised, which is, the team is investigating the reason behind why this happened.
Okay, Javed, you
And,
must
we
have
have to
attended
wait,
the press briefing. Yes, we'll wait for the inquiry findings. Was there any information given in the press briefing regarding the amount of material, the make of this explosive material, and its links to the Faridabad and the New Delhi blast? Faridabad investigation and the New Delhi blast. Was any more information given in the press briefing?
In the press briefing, it was only said that this was an accident only, and the amount of explosives that was there in the police station was perhaps the same kind of amount that was brought from the Faridabad. The police didn't mention it in the press release or in the PC that how much explosive was there inside the police station. But as we already know, it was a big amount of explosive that was brought from the Faridabad, and maybe it was the entire explosive was there, but police didn't reveal how much explosive was there inside the police station.
Okay.
And neither police said anything whether it has any connection with any kind of it was a kind of a blast. It was not. It was just an accident. And police didn't say that it has any connection with the New Delhi blasts. They ruled it out.
Okay.
But between the lines, we can understand certain things.
Okay. Would you like to add to these between the lines assessment?
Not exactly. We have to wait
Okay.
unless we get some official press release from the police or from some authority.
Okay, thank you very much, Javed Sagar. That was a comprehensive, detailed, details that you've shared with us on DD India. Thank you for joining us at the moment. And now let's move.
Thank you very much. I had with me the camera person Tariq.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tariq and Javed Sagar from Jammu and Kashmir's Nowgam. Now, here's a development in the Delhi car blast case near the Red Fort. According to sources, India's National Investigation Agency, NIA, has detained a doctor from Pathankot, Punjab, in connection with the Delhi blast. Dr. Rahish Ahmed is a resident of Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag. He was detained from a private hospital in Pathankot. He was associated with Al Falah University. We have seen Faridabad's Al Falah University under the scanner with its alleged terror links to the New Delhi blast case. Moving on to the other important stories of the day. On a visit to Gujarat, Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered prayers at the temple of Pandori Mata, the clan deity of the tribal community in Devmogra village of Sagbara Taluka, 23 kilometers from Dediapada. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Gujarat to attend the Janjatiya Gaurav celebrations. Those are the 150th birth anniversary celebrations of freedom fighter and legendary tribal leader of India, Bhagwan Birsa Munda. So before these celebrations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered prayers to the tribal community's clan deity, Pandori Mata, in Devmogra village of Sagbara Taluka, 23 kilometers from Dediapada. So on November 15, 2025, India is marking 150th birth anniversary of Dharti Aba Bhagwan Birsa Munda with a national level celebration of India's National Tribal Pride Day. It's called Janjatiya Gaurav Divas in Gujarat's Narmada district. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will preside over the event. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi also conducted a roadshow in Narmada. So, tribal artists from Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat welcomed the Prime Minister in their traditional attire. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate projects worth 9,700 crore rupees today in Dediapada, Narmada district of Gujarat. At around 2:45 Indian Standard Time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Dharti Aba Bhagwan Birsa Munda. The program will be broadcast live across 23 talukas in the tribal districts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also address the gathering. In the evening, a special play on the life of Dharti Aba Bhagwan Birsa Munda will be staged at Ekta Nagar. All right, we'll stand by for that event. Still to come on DD India News Hour. US President Donald Trump withdraws support for longtime ally Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump says Cambodia and Thailand are going to be fine as he seeks to mediate a flare-up in their border dispute. And Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro urges Americans to stop the war and support peace.
I have been a strong critic of British colonialism, but I don't personally believe that we can blame everything on the British anymore. Kerala, in 1957, elected a communist government, the first ever democratically elected communist government anywhere in the world.
Can the Kerala model be implemented in other Indian states as well?
Very good question to which I can't give you a simple answer.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On to international news of the day. President Donald Trump has said that China has agreed to buy US soybeans and other farm goods after talks between Washington and Beijing on Friday. He claimed the purchases were already underway, though he did not specify which officials took part in the discussions. The comments came as USDA trimmed its forecasts for US corn and soybean output while noting rising corn supplies. Future markets slumped as traders had expected deeper production cuts and continued weak Chinese demand for US soybeans. Later on Friday, Trump signed an order lowering US tariffs on imports such as beef, coffee, bananas and tomatoes to ease cost of living pressures. The tariff exemptions, backdated to Thursday, follow new US trade agreements with Argentina, Guatemala, Ecuador and El Salvador.
They're in the process of doing it. We spoke to them today. They're in the process of doing not only a little bit, but they'll be doing a lot of soybean purchase.
Switzerland has reached a new trade agreement with the United States that lowers US tariffs on Swiss goods to 15% from 39%. The deal includes a pledge by Swiss companies to invest $200 billion into the US by 2028. Economy Minister Guy Parmelin said Switzerland made no concessions that affected sovereignty on sanctions, export controls or investment policies. He added that the previous tariff level had caused considerable damage, impacting around 40% of Swiss exports. The agreement will also reduce Swiss import duties on selected US industrial fish, seafood and non-sensitive agricultural products. Switzerland will grant the US duty-free quotas on beef, bison and poultry under the new framework.
Today, I can announce that Switzerland and the United States have reached common ground regarding additional tariffs, thanks in particular to the new momentum created by US President's commitment. This represents an important step for our exporting companies and for the stability of our trade relations. First, the United States has agreed to reduce the level of additional tariffs. For Switzerland, these tariffs will now be capped at 15%, which, as I have said, puts us on an equal footing with the European Union. Second, products that were already exempt will continue to benefit from this exemption. This notably concerns pharmaceutical products, certain chemicals, gold and semiconductors.
Pharmaceutiques, certains produits chimiques, l'or et les semi-conducteurs.
Swiss business leaders welcome the US decision to cut tariffs on Swiss goods to 15%, calling it a true relief for the national and Genevan economy. The Geneva Chamber of Commerce said President Trump's earlier tariff hike to 39% had posed a serious threat to prosperity. Swiss industry data showed a sharp drop in exports to the US in recent months, including a 14% overall decline and a 43% slump in machine tool shipments. The Chamber's Director General, Vincent Subila, described the rollback as a modest but important step in the right direction.
Excellent news indeed, and I must say this is a true relief for the Swiss and Geneva economy, which had been unduly damaged by punitive tariffs. So again, a breath of fresh air for the Swiss economy. It is worth remembering that Geneva is the second largest importer at the national level, but also to the US, which is our second trading partner. We're talking about 3.5 billion for Geneva only.
Now, the U.S. Justice Department has said that it will fulfill President Donald Trump's request to investigate convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's ties to former Democratic President Bill Clinton, LinkedIn founder and prominent Democratic donor Reid Hoffman, and banking giant JP Chase. The move comes 2 days after a congressional committee released thousands of documents that raised new questions about Trump's relationship with the late financier. This marks the latest in a series of demands by Donald Trump for federal law enforcement to pursue his perceived political enemies. Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the top federal prosecutor in Manhattan, Jay Clayton, will lead the investigation. Meanwhile, JP Morgan said in a statement that the U.S. bank regrets its past association with Epstein, who was a client between 1998 and 2013 and did not help him commit these heinous acts. Meanwhile, Donald Trump said on Friday that he knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's emails. Trump's response came while he was departing for Florida. His departure came hours after the U.S. Justice Department said it would launch an investigation into Epstein's ties to former Democratic President Bill Clinton. The announcement followed the release of thousands of pages of material and raised fresh questions about Trump's past dealings with Epstein, who died by suicide in a Manhattan jail before he could face trial. Further, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he was pulling his support for key ally M. Taylor Greene after a string of disagreements, calling the hard-right lawmaker a ranting lunatic. It marks an extraordinary rift in Trump's Make America Great Again MAGA movement a year before U.S. midterm elections, with Trump facing growing criticism on the cost of living and the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Trump also replied to Greene's allegations of him spending too much time abroad and neglecting domestic issues.
So I heard that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, oh, gee, I'm spending too much time overseas. So let's say I don't meet with China. You know what's happened right now to Georgia and every other state? They're not working because your magnets and your rare earths would have kicked in. And there wouldn't be a factory in the world that was working. If I didn't have a relationship overseas with China, with Japan, with South Korea, with all of them, Malaysia, I went to Malaysia, but visited many more countries.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he was pulling his support for key ally M. Taylor Greene after a string of disagreements, calling the hard-right lawmaker a ranting lunatic. It marks an extraordinary rift in Trump's Make America Great Again movement before a year before U.S. midterm elections, with Trump facing growing criticism on the cost of living and the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Trump also replied to Greene's allegations of him spending too much time abroad and neglecting domestic issues. The United States will test nuclear weapons like other countries do, President Donald Trump said on Friday, but declined to say if the plans included exploding a nuclear warhead. Aboard Air Force One, Trump said U.S. will do nuclear testing like other countries. Trump last month ordered the U.S. military to immediately restart the process for testing nuclear weapons after 33 years, marking the surprise announcement on Truth Social while aboard his Marine One helicopter flying to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping for a trade negotiation session in Busan, South Korea. Further, Donald Trump said that he is considering agreeing to a deal to supply Saudi Arabia with F-35 stealth fighter jets made by Lockheed Martin. The potential sale comes as Trump plans to host Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman at the White House next week, when they are expected to sign economic and defense agreements. A Pentagon intelligence report has also raised concerns over the potential F-35 deal, warning that China could acquire the aircraft's technology if the sale proceeds. He also hoped that Saudi would soon join the Abraham Accords, which have normalized relations between Israel and the Muslim-majority nations. Riyadh has resisted such a step on a roadmap to Palestinian statehood. Still with the U.S., President Donald Trump said on Friday that he thought Thailand and Cambodia would be fine after his phone calls with the leaders of both countries to help ease tensions over a disputed border.
They're doing great. They were not doing great, and then, they had a conflict, as you know. And I spoke to the prime ministers of both countries, and they're doing great. I think they're going to be fine.
Amid tensions between the United States and Venezuela, U.S. President Donald Trump suggested on Friday that a decision could come soon on whether or not to take military action against Venezuela, which he has accused of close ties to the illegal drug trade.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I can't tell you what it is, but we made a lot of progress with Venezuela in terms of stopping drugs from pouring in. But we have a Mexico problem, we have a Colombia problem, meaning Colombia, the country. We're doing very well. Drugs coming into our country are greatly slowed, as you can imagine.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro delivered an anti-war message to the people of the U.S. on Friday as he closed the International Jurists meeting in the Defense of International Law in Caracas. He made a call to understand the magnitude of today's international challenges.
Es el pueblo de Estados Unidos a quien me dirijo en este momento.
It is to the people of the United States that I speak to at this moment before this 100 jurists from 34 countries to say stop the insane hand of those who order bombing, killing and bringing war to South America, to the Caribbean. Stop the war, no to war.
More from South America. Brazil's far-right former president Jair Bolsonaro is running out of options to avoid prison after judges on Friday rejected his appeal against a 27-year sentence for a botched coup bid. Bolsonaro lost the 2022 elections and was convicted in September for his efforts to prevent President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva from taking power after the polls. 4 of the 5 judges on the Supreme Court panel voted to sentence Bolsonaro to 27 years and 3 months in prison for 5 crimes, including participating in an armed criminal organization, attempting to violently abolish democracy, and organizing a coup. And very quickly, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Britain's Queen Camilla visited Sefyllfa Park Primary School in Wales on Friday to mark the Poetry Together Day. Camilla joined students taking part in a guided reading program supported by local volunteers. A robot designed to transform vineyard operations with its advanced autonomous capabilities is undergoing trials in Italy. Called Frasche, it is designed to carry out a range of functions, including monitoring grape clusters, manipulating plants, and applying spray treatments to the fruits, all autonomously. And worshippers gathered in northern Peru for the unveiling of a 5-meter-tall statue of Pope Leo XIV, a monument intended to honor the pontiff's ties to the country. The fiberglass sculpture stands at the Gran Chimo roundabout in Chiclayo, with local authorities saying that it will be renamed the Papal Oval. And still to come on DD India News Hour. We would love to lead, says India's Trade Minister Piyush Goyal as he advocates reforms for the entire world. Google announces massive $40 billion investment in Texas to expand its cloud and AI infrastructure through 2027. And India celebrates Tribal Pride Day today to commemorate 150th birth anniversary of freedom fighter and legendary tribal leader Birsa Munda.
When we stop seeing ourselves as separate from the world around us, caring for our planet becomes caring for our own existence. So today, let's meet people who are showing us even small steps can bring about lasting change.
I left the teaching job, started protecting palm trees. I began creating awareness among children in schools and colleges why palm trees are important and why we should care about saving them.
This habitat develops on its own inside the vortex pool. There's water moss on the walls and here on the bottom. The moss growth on the walls and bottom is proof that the water quality really is improving.
Past, we didn't know what conservation was or how to preserve or protect the wildlife. Now, through this restoration site, we are trying our best to carry forward a legacy of protecting the environment.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Here are the top stories we are following at this hour. 9 killed and several injured in an accidental blast near Jammu and Kashmir's Nowgam police station. Lieutenant Governor orders probe. US Justice Department accepts President Trump's request to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's ties to former Democratic President Bill Clinton and the largest US bank, JP Morgan. And Trump cuts tariffs on 200 food products as inflation concerns mount. Also slashes tariffs to 15% from 39% for Switzerland after Bern pledges $200 billion in US investments. All right, updates from Europe now. The European Union is set to kickstart a rollback of landmark rules on artificial intelligence and data protection next week that face powerful pushback on both sides of the Atlantic. Part of a bid to slash red tape for European businesses struggling against US and Chinese rivals, the move is drawing accusations that Brussels is putting competitiveness ahead of citizens' privacy and protection. Brussels denies that pressure from the US administration influenced its push to simplify the bloc's digital rules, which have drawn the wrath of President Donald Trump and American tech giants. But the European Commission says it has heard the concerns of EU firms and wants to make it easier for them to access users' data for AI development, a move critics attack as a threat to privacy. And on to the latest from the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Russia launched a drone and missile attack on Ukraine on Friday, killing 6 people in Kiev and 2 more in the south in strikes on energy facilities, apartment buildings and infrastructure. Officials said most of the drones and missiles were shot down, but falling debris and fires damaged high-rise apartments, a medical facility and administrative buildings across 9 districts in the city of about 3 million. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukraine used long Neptune missiles on targets in Russia, while Russia's Ministry of Defense said its troops hit Ukrainian energy facilities and weapons production complex with high-precision weapons to respond to Ukrainian attacks on Russia. UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly condemns the missile and drone attack by the Russian Federation on several Ukrainian regions. They are unacceptable and must end immediately.
The Secretary General strongly condemns today's large-scale missile and drone attack by the Russian Federation on several Ukrainian regions, reportedly killing at least 6 people in Kyiv and 2 people in the city of Chormonovsk. They are unacceptable wherever they occur and must end immediately. The Secretary General recalls the principle also of the inviolability of diplomatic premises. The Secretary General reiterates his call for a full, immediate and unconditional ceasefire as a first step towards a just, comprehensive and sustainable peace in Ukraine, one that fully upholds Ukraine's sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized border, in line with the United Nations Charter, international law, and relevant UN resolutions.
The UN Security Council will vote on Monday on a resolution backing President Trump's Gaza peace plan, diplomats said. The text is meant to build on the ceasefire in the 2-year Israel-Hamas war. Washington began circulating the draft last week among the 15 council members. The plan outlines security arrangements, reconstruction steps and political mechanisms for Gaza's future. The United States has urged a swift adoption of the resolution. Several Arab and Muslim-majority nations, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Turkey, have also backed a quick vote. Updates from the business world now. US President Donald Trump has said that he would sue the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, for up to $5 billion after the British broadcaster apologized for a misleading edit of one of his speeches but said that it would not pay damages. Trump's lawyers said that the documentary, which aired on the BBC flagship Panorama news program, was false and defamatory and had initially set a Friday deadline for the BBC to retract its documentary or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. They also demanded an apology and compensation for what they called overwhelming reputational and financial harm. The BBC has been plunged into its biggest crisis in decades after two senior leaders resigned following accusations of bias, including over the editing of Trump's speech on January 6, 2021, when his supporters stormed the Capitol. Google has announced a massive $40 billion investment in Texas to expand its cloud and AI infrastructure through 2027. The funding will build new data center campuses in northern Texas, strengthening Google's long-standing presence in the state. The company said the investment aims to support Texas' workforce and ensure the U.S. retains a strong AI backbone. Texas has become a hub for tech giants, attracting firms like OpenAI, Meta, Tesla, Oracle and Samsung. Google is also launching a $30 million energy impact fund to help communities manage rising power demands from data centers. The company recently said its 2025 capital spending could reach $91 to $93 billion, driven by large-scale AI ambitions. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon is retiring early next year after overseeing the top U.S. retailer's transformation into an e-commerce behemoth. The longtime CEO will be succeeded by John Furner, the Walmart's U.S. CEO, on February 1st, according to the filing. McMillon, who stepped into the top role at Walmart in February 2014, will officially retire as of Jan 31st. He will continue to serve as an executive officer of the company and be employed by Walmart as an advisor through January 31st, 2027. The announcement of the CEO transition comes only 6 days before the retailer is set to report quarterly earnings. Major U.S. airlines are urging the Federal Aviation Administration to end the mandatory 6% cut in domestic flights at 40 major airports. The cuts were introduced over air traffic safety concerns after the 43-day government shutdown ended. Airlines are mostly not complying with the order. Analytics firm Cirium reports cancellations dropped to just 2% on Friday compared to 3.5% earlier in the week. FAA staff, including air traffic controllers, have begun receiving about 70% of their pending back pay.